Hello. You don't know me, but I know you. I want to play a game. There is only one key to open the device. It's in the stomach of your dead cellmate. Better hurry up. Live or die. Make your choice.
What's going on, Papa Fam? Lawler here, and today we're going to be building a game using React and Phaser. Okay, I'm going to take you through step by step how to do that, and we're also going to deploy this game to Firebase. Okay, so are you pumped? Are you excited? I'm excited. Let's do this. Okay, so I'm going to take you through the third-party library I'm going to be using today. So it's called Phaser. Okay, so that's the URL here. It's called phaser.io. Everything you need to know about Phaser is on this website. So they have their own community. They have their own Discord. It's a 2D game framework used for making HTML5 games. So you can use it on both desktop and mobile. Pretty fun, guys. I've built a few games here the last couple of weeks, so I'm just going to show you a really basic game to start, and hopefully if there's some good feedback we can build some more advanced games. Okay, so I will take you through the game that I'm going to demo today. It's called Breakout. So hold on, I actually need to restart the game. So pretty basic here. You've got a paddle here that moves from left to right. Okay, and you can press the spacebar to start the game. Spacebar hits off the bricks. Okay, and it comes back and hits back off the paddle. Okay, so I'm going to be taking you through this step by step, from start to finish, guys. That's what we do in the Papa Fam. We don't let anything stop us. Okay, so there you go. I'm going to let the ball float away and we die. Okay, so that's where we're at, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. I'll be using Windows today. Sunny normally has a Mac, so for those of you that use Windows, you might get some insight here how to do this on Windows if you don't already know what that is. So I normally build my projects in my Git directory. Okay, so I'm just going to navigate to my Git directory, and I'm going to be using Yarn today. For those of you using npm, you can do npm I or npm create React app, or npx create React app, and you give your name, your project name, so it'll be Phaser Breakout. I'm going to say Loom today. It's my first time using Loom. It's pretty cool. This little video thing where it sees my face down here. It's pretty damn cool. Papa and Jay introduced me to this yesterday, so it's pretty cool. I'm going to be using this. So this is the command you would use if you're using npm. Okay, so I'm going to use using Yarn today. So I'm going to be doing Yarn create with a space React app, Phaser breakout Loom. Okay, so that's what we're going to create today. Okay, so that's building that now, and that'll take a couple of seconds. So what I can do now is I'm going to set up Firebase. Okay, so I'm going to navigate to my Firebase, firebase.google.com. So I have a couple of projects on this already, so I'm going to click the Get Started button here. Okay, so I'm going to add a project here. So I'm going to say Phaser breakout Loom. Okay, so we're going to click continue here. I'm going to not enable Google Analytics, so I'm just going to move me there. Can I move that? Oh, I'll move it over here for now. I'll move it here for a second. It's all G, and I'm just going to. I'm not going to have any analytics. I'm just going to create the project there. Okay, so that'll take a second, and I will see how my game is progressing. Still building here, so we're nearly there. We can start up, guys, in just a second. So yeah, there we go. Happy hacking. So both our Firebase project and our boilerplate React code have been built. Okay, so I'm going to click continue here, and that will initialize the Firebase. So that's all we need to do here for now. We'll just continue on to the game, okay? So what I'll do now is I'm going to CD into the phaser breakout loon, okay? So as you can see here, I'm using the Windows equivalent here to OMyZSH. So I'm getting this git details here. So it's telling me that I'm using the master branch on my git project. So this is really useful. It gives you information about your changes, if you're behind, if you're ahead, that kind of thing. You can see it while I'm coding. So what I'll do now is I'll open this project in Visual Studio Code just by pressing code space and dot. Okay. Once I click that, I will get my boilerplate code here and I'll move it across the screen. Okay, so 1 second there, I'll just make that a bit bigger for you guys. And okay, and I'll also install phaser now, okay, into the project. So we say yarn add phaser at 3.24.1. This is the version I've used in this game, so I'm just going to use it today because I know it works. Maybe the newer one doesn't work, I don't know, but I know this one works, so I'm just going to go ahead with this one, okay? If you were using npm, you would say npm I phaser at 3.24.1, okay? So I'm just going to install phaser into my project, and then I have all the phaser dependencies that I need, okay, and we can get going, okay? So then I'm going to start up the app now by saying yarn start, okay? Again, if you were using npm, you'd use npm start, okay? Okay guys, you pumped? Are you ready to rock this breakout game? Let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to move this over here so we can actually see the React game and the React boilerplate code. So usual steps we do in the Papa fam. We delete the test files, we delete the logo here, we delete app.test, and we do setup tests, okay? These three, they're going in the bin. We don't need them, okay? Gone. Okay, now next step, we go to the app.js and we remove the header, okay? Remove all that header, okay? And we remove the logo. This is the same step for most of our builds, guys, so you get used to this after a while. I'm going to rename app here to lowercase app just to follow with the BEM naming convention. Okay, if you guys don't know what that is by now, just type in BEM block element modifier for CSS. It's what we use in the Papa fam. You get used to it after a while. It's really cool, guys. It's great. Okay, I'm going to keep going, keep the energy up. In app.css now, I'm going to go back to my app here actually so you can show this. I'm going to put in a h1 tag so we can say, yo, are you ready to build breakout with phaser? Okay guys, okay, so in a second you should see that. Okay, there you go guys, we have our app up and running. We have a h1, so what we're going to do is, see this margin here, we're going to get rid of that margin. Okay, we don't like that margin in the Papa fam, we don't need that. So we're going to go to index and we're going to add a star here for everything, and we're going to say a margin of 0. Okay, gets rid of that margin, but puts it up there. Okay guys, so now we're ready to rock with this game. Okay, first things first is what I'm going to do. I'm going to create, in the app, I'm going to create a breakout component. Okay, I'm going to add a breakout component. So how do I do that? I'm going to get rid of this line. Okay, we don't need that anymore. So I'm going to create a breakout component. Okay, so the breakout component is going to have title as a prop. Do we need a title? We'll add a title. We might need it, or I'll just put it in for now. Call it breakout. Okay, and it's going to have a width. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to have a game in here. Okay, we're gonna make our own width and height for the game. So I'm just going to add the width of 800 and the height of, I think it's 640 for this game, based on what I was messing with. And we need a background, so we need a background color. Okay, so we're just going to say background as a prop, and we're going to give it an initial color of black. Okay, and now we're going to close our component. Okay, so that's the component. started. Okay, 1 second, I'll just move that across so you can see. So we need to create that file, guys. So first I'm going to import it here. So import breakout from breakout. But that file doesn't exist yet, but we'll create that file, guys. Don't you worry, we'll create it right now. Okay, so we're going to import it, and that these 3 things I added here are called props. Okay, so we've got a title prop, width prop, height prop, background prop. It's actually 4. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create the breakout component. Okay, so if you navigate to your folder here, press new file, and we call it breakout.js. Okay, we're going to use Java or JSX instead of TypeScript in this project. Okay, so what are we going to do now? We're going to use the snippets. So I'm going to use RFCE for a React functional component. Okay. Sometimes I use the RAFCE for an arrow functional component. Let's do that today. We'll just do that today. Okay. It's all good. Whichever one you're used to using, it doesn't really matter. Okay, I'm going to use this one today. Okay. Also, did I remove the CSS? I didn't remove the CSS from the app. I'm going to get rid of that too. I forgot to do that. Okay. So now back into the breakout. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to okay. Gotta show you something first. Okay, that should be okay now. Okay, it's gone. Okay, great. We're back to where we were. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you a quick drawing of what I'm going to do. Okay, so in the phaser games, okay, phaser have this template, it's called. Okay, so we're just going to create a game. It's going to be 800 width. Okay, and it's going to be 640 height. Okay, so how phaser works is they have a template, but within the template is where you have scenes. Okay, you have game scenes. Okay, so think of it as a layer. Okay, so that's your template, and within the template then you have a scene. Okay, so you can have multiple scenes. This game has one scene, so on the template you can put your scene. Okay, and normally it's the same size of the template, but you don't see the layers because it's initialized on component mount. But if you wanted another scene, you can switch scenes. So like if you had another scene, you can put it on top of that layer, if you understand. So today I'm going to show you a game with one scene. Okay, so to make it simple, and I'll show you that today. Okay, so this is just a quick breakdown, and I'll go through that right now. Okay, so the first things first is we need to set some state. Okay, so we need to use the use state hook. Okay, so for those of you who've never used the use state hook, I'd recommend you join the Papa Fams 0 to Full Stack Hero. Sonny gives a great description about use state in the course. Okay, so everything you need is in that course, guys. Use state, any of the hooks, we're going to be doing all of those, and we already covered a lot already, like in the first couple of weeks. So yeah, so right, I'm going to keep going here with this. So I'm going to create a phaser state here. Okay, I'm going to set it here. So, and I'm going to give it an initial value of null. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to import this by hovering over this and going control space. Okay, whoops, wrong one. So this one. Okay, so that imports the use state from React. Okay, I have a couple of extensions here. I might show you them quickly because this is what I use primarily in developing with React. So I have this auto import extension. That's what I used there. It's auto import. When I did control space in the keyboard, it imported use state for me. Also, the snippets, I use this ES7 React Redux GraphQL React native snippets. So that's what gives you the RFCE and RFCE. Okay, gives you that's for a functional component, and this RAFCE is for a React arrow functional component, which is the one I have above. And also the other main one is your React class components, which is RCC. Okay, so they're the main ones I use day in day out in my programming life. And yeah, it's a really powerful extension, guys. I recommend you get it. Okay, cool. So enough about that. We go back to the coding. Okay, so I've created my state. So what do we need to do next? Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna add the use effect hook, because we need the use effect hook to initialize the template. Okay, so I'm going to just add the use effect here. Okay, and it's got auto imported above. Okay, so I'm just going to add some boilerplate here. So I declare a phaser variable in here. All right, I'm just going to give it an underscore phaser from within the use effect. Okay, so then I'm going to set the phaser to be the I'm going to initialize a new. First of all, I need to import phaser. Apologies, guys, I forgot to import phaser. So we do that up here. We import phaser from phaser. Okay, so that's phaser imported. Okay, so then phaser gives you this template where you can, it's pretty much the same for every game, where you just have a couple of key value pairs that you need in your template. Okay, once you have that, you can use this template in nearly every game. Okay, I'll talk you through this right now. So we initialize a new phaser dot game. Okay, and then within the use effect, you're gonna add your key values. Okay, so type, we are going to set this to auto. Not going to go through types today, but we can do in another tutorial, possibly on its own. There's a lot in types. We can do that some other time. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, if you remember in the app, I passed in some props. So these props I'm going to destructure now in the breakout component to use from within the template itself. So I have title, width, height, and background. Okay, so in my breakout component, I'm going to destructure the app here, and I'm going to bring these in. Okay, so I have a title. I'm going to destructure the component rather, not the app. So I have a title and I have a width. Okay, I have a height and I have a background. Okay, so that's that, and then we are going to say the height is the height that I gave it, which are the height, which is the 640, I think I gave it. Yeah, width is the width, which is 800. Okay. Oh, sorry, it should be a colon, not a comma. Okay, so then we have height and width. We have this this field which is called physics. Okay, what this means is, sometimes you'll have games where you have a character that has gravity. So like say Super Mario, he needs to fall and he needs to jump on things and he needs to die. Okay, so what this value does is it looks after gravity, that kind of thing. So the default here is what's known as arcade. Okay, so we'll use this in this game, and then you need to say your arcade has no gravity. So we're not using gravity today. We don't have a character that falls off worlds or anything like that. We just have a simple game. We don't need gravity right now. We can cover this in another game. I have another game that uses the gravity function. We can go through that some other time. Okay, cool. What's next? So we also need the background color. Okay, which is part of the phaser. We need this. So we set it to background. So we're just using those props above there. Okay. Okay, I actually have done this a little bit wrong here. Sorry, no, I forgot to add the arrow function. Okay, so that's there. Apologies. So that's there, and then after the background, we have what's known as a parent, which is an ID that phaser use. If you don't have this, your template won't initialize. So it's very important. So I'm going to set it to phaser parent. Okay, and then the next thing is we need a scene, guys. The template needs a scene for the game to initialize. Okay, so I haven't created any scene yet, but I will do it. I'll add in a placeholder for now, and we can come back and we can create the game scene. Okay, I'm just going to call it game scene for now. Okay, so we'll do that, and we'll also need to. Okay, part of this too is when we're setting the phaser template. From programming this, I was stuck for quite a while where I was trying to update the state of the game. So initially I used the above template for the game, and I was I was a bit lost for a while because the update wasn't working. So what I messed around with was this. I have to set the phaser from outside the template here also to look after updates to the game. Okay, so yeah, that's the way I've programmed it. It works. I'm not sure if it's perfect, but it works now. So I can show you what I mean in a little bit. So we also need to pass in the dependencies that we're using as props here in the use effect. Okay, so we put these in here in the square brackets. So we have the title, width, height, and background. Okay, so these go in here. Okay, so there you have your template for the game. Okay, looks pretty good. We don't have a game scene, but we can create the game scene shortly. Okay, game scene is slightly different. We're going to import it from here. Okay, import game scene, capital G. Okay, game scene from game scene. Okay, we're just going to keep it in the same section right now. Okay, so it's going to be here, right? Okay, so that's cool. We haven't created the game scene yet. We'll do it in a second. So okay, so in the div now we're going to have an ID. Okay, we need this ID. As I said earlier, it's the parent. So whatever you've called the parent here, so okay, so whatever you have called that parent, you pass it down here as your ID. Okay, game won't work without this, guys. So pass in your ID here, and you're going to inject the phaser use state value when the component mounts. Okay, so that goes in here within your div. Okay, it's an important step. Don't forget that step. Okay, so that's that. I think we're pretty much done here, guys, with the template initialization on component mount, on component update, etc. So we just need to create our game scene. Okay, so now we go back to our app and we create a new file called game scene.js. Okay, so what are we going to do here? We are going to use a class-based component. We've used a functional component with the breakout.js. We'll use a class-based today, just to show you guys the differences. So RCC to get the class-based component. Okay, so we actually don't need this. We're going to import phaser from here. Import phaser from phaser. Okay, so we need to extend the phaser scene, so we do that here. So phaser dot scene. Okay, so that extends that. We don't have a render either in phaser. We have some JavaScript functions that we need for this phaser game to work. Okay, so the main ones are preload. Okay, so what that does is it loads your assets, which are your image files, so if I go back to the game, so your image files will be, for this game, you have a paddle, you have a ball, and you have your bricks. Okay, so I'll take you through that now in a second. So I'll actually add the the JavaScript functions that we need first. So the creates all these assets and sprites, sprites are known as characters in the game. Okay, in phaser, so that would be a sprite, and that's a sprite, and these are groups of sprites. Okay, I'll just show you that in a minute, guys. So preloads the assets, creates them, and then you have one more function called the update. Okay, these are the main functions that you need in every phaser game. There's a couple of more, but these are fundamental. You need them for every game. Okay, won't work without these. Okay, so once I save this now and I have imported phaser, yes, I am good, I think. There we go. We have our template. Okay, it's a black screen. Okay, it does nothing yet, but you have your template. So you see the way it's on the left there at the top. We're going to style that now so that it's in the middle. Okay, so how do we do that? I'm just going to add some styling to the app.css. Okay, so if we go into app.css, I'm going to create some styles. So if you remember, I added the lowercase app in the app.js. Okay, so app here. So that will be referenced in our CSS file, so because we're importing it here. Okay, so we say text align center. Okay, so that moves everything to the center, guys. You don't I'm just going to give it a height of 100 view height, and I'm going to give it a width of 100%. Okay, and background color. Do a background color. Okay, we'll do a background color. Say white smoke. Okay, just for fun. Okay, so that's just going to give your game a little gray effect at the back of the game. It's not even visible, but it's there. Trust me. We could add a margin at the top there, but I'll just leave it for now. Okay, it's fine. And okay, let's go and crack on with the actual game scene functionality, which is where all the magic happens. So I'll just go and dive straight into that. Okay, so first thing we need to do is we need to load the images. So in public, we create a new folder called assets. Okay, so I have a link for these assets here. I'm going to add it, and it's in my Google Drive, so I'm going to paste it down here. Okay, you can stop the video, go to this URL, and you should be able to get those files from there. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how you do that. Grab this URL, okay, you paste it in your browser, and you should have all the images that you need. Okay, so there you go. There are your 5 images. So what you're going to do, you're going to download all of them. I've just done already, guys. So you download this to your downloads folder, move them across to your from within inside your public and assets folder. Okay, so I'm just going to grab these as well from the last time that I had them. So just give me 1 second there, guys. Where did I put these now? Images. Okay. Okay, copy. Let's see. Where's the big one? Public assets. Okay. Now I should have them here. Okay, there you go. So they're done. So if I go to one of these here, look, that's the ball. I'm going to go back to my app. The ball, brick 2, which is the yellow one, brick 3, which is red, and the paddle. Okay, so which is this thing. Okay, so the paddle, which hits the ball. Okay, let's go. We'll pick up the energy now, guys, and we'll get through this game scene. Okay, so right, if those of you who have worked with React class-based components will know that you have a constructor. Okay, so constructor is here, and you say that you have a super. Okay, and you say that your super has the game scene. This is important. Okay, you need to add it. So we're also going to add a boolean here that's saying the game isn't started yet. Okay, so this game started is false. Okay. Okay, that's fine. So we just add a boolean there, boolean value. Okay, so preload, we're going to load our assets. Okay, so this dot load dot image. Okay, and we reference our we'll load the paddle first. Okay, which is the first thing, paddle, and we say it is in the assets folder. Okay, and it's in the paddle. It's called paddle.png. Okay, so when we go back to our game, it's not going to be there yet because we actually have to create it. Okay, so we're going to create that down here. We'll load the assets first, and then I'll create them as I go. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to copy them over, guys. It's the same process. Okay, so I'm going to put the ball here. Okay, and then we're going to load the 3 bricks. So the yellow, red, blue. Okay, so brick 1, brick 2, brick 3. That's the preload function done. Okay, look how easy that is. Okay, you just preload all your assets. You have them ready to rock when you need them. Okay, so that's what's involved there, guys. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to create the images within our game and give them some XY coordinates. Okay, that's the next step. So we're actually going to see some of those now in our scene. Okay, in our scene within the template. Okay, So let's create the player first, which is the toggle. Okay, so in React class-based components, you're going to see this being used to death here. So okay, I'm just bear with me. It's used an awful lot, and it's just the way class components are designed. Okay, so we're gonna create a function here. Keep it nice and simple. Keep it separate to the actual function. We're going to create a function outside of the function. Okay, we're going to call it create player. Okay, so we're going to create our own create player JavaScript function. Okay, create player, and we're going to create a variable, say let player equals, and we're gonna say this dot physics. Okay, this, which is this game, physics, which is inbuilt within Phaser itself, looks after some of the game physics. So we say add dot sprite, okay, which is a character within the Phaser game. Okay, and we're going to say, where do we want the sprite? We want it at 400 x, 600 y, and we want it to reference the paddle asset that we preloaded. Okay, and then what we do, we return it back to the create function. Okay, so once this is done, you should see this within your game scene. There you go. There's your first created asset, guys, or sprite. Okay, which is your paddle. Okay, so well done on getting this far. We're gonna plow on, and we're gonna create the rest of the assets, and you'll start to see your game take shape. Okay, so next thing is the ball. We're gonna say this dot ball is to create this dot create ball. Okay, similar to the other one, we're just going to create it, and we're use create ball function. Okay, create ball, and then we're going to create the ball and return it to our create function. Okay, let ball equals this dot physics dot add dot sprite, and we're going to say, where did we said 400x 565. Okay, so x is this way and y is this way. Okay, x, y. Okay, x, y coordinates, x, y. Okay, cool. And then we're going to say the ball. We want to use the ball asset as our ball sprite. Okay, so then you say return the ball to the create function. And once that is loaded, you should see the ball here. There you go. There's your ball. Okay, cool. Now we are going to create the bricks. Okay, so I am going to grab one of these here. So first we'll create the blue bricks. This dot blue bricks equals this dot create blue bricks. Quite simple, guys. It's the same for all of these. We just keep creating these guys. So what I'll do is I will create the blue bricks down here, and I might copy and paste the other two because they're the very same. Okay, so I'm gonna copy across the, I'll do the first one, but I'll copy the next two. Okay, so we say create blue bricks function. Okay, so that's a little bit different now because we have in our game we have 9 across the screen, so we need to group these. Okay, Phaser has this group function that you use, and you give it a few key values, and it knows how to do that. So I'll show you that now. So we're going to say const, because it never changes. Okay, we're going to say blue bricks equals this dot physics, same as the last one, dot add dot sprite, and we are going, oh sorry, this is a group, apologies, so it's a group, not a sprite. Okay, so we're going to create an object from within the group, and we're going to say the key, which is the name of the asset that we're going to be using for this group. It's called brick1. Okay, which are the blue ones. We repeat it 9 times. Okay, because there's nine of these bricks across the page. Okay, and we're going to say they're immovable. We'll talk about immovable in a sec. It's kind of complicated. It takes a boolean. Okay, and then we have an x, y coordinates that we use. Okay, so we go in here and we create the xy coordinates. So we give it an x. Where does it start? It starts at 80. Okay, where's the y? It starts at 140, and we step x. Then we step x over 70 for each. You know, step x. Each step is a step of 70 pixels. Okay. So what that does then is when you return the blue bricks. Okay. Return blue bricks. It should render to your game over here. There you go. There's your blue bricks. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? You pumped, guys? We're nearly there. I'm going to do the yellow bricks, the red bricks, and once that's done, I'm going to add some movements and some functionality, and it's going to be cool. Okay, guys? Okay, I'm going to plow on now with the yellow bricks because it's the same process except that the XY coordinates vary. Okay, so there's your yellow bricks, and I'm going to add the yellow bricks function. Okay, so where did I put the yellow bricks function? There it is. So I'm just going to copy this over, guys. You can pause the video and take this down. So this is the yellow bricks. We return it. We have our yellow bricks above the blue bricks. So the only difference here is the y coordinates. See the way it's 140 here for the blue, 90 for the yellow, because 90 is here and 140 is there. Okay, so that's how that works. It's x over 80 and y down by 90 and then 140, if you know what I mean. So it's just a matter of knowing your coordinates here for the dimensions of the game. Okay, so I'm going to create the red bricks now. And where did I do that? Okay, so it's here. So red bricks is here, same process, and I'm going to copy over the red bricks. Okay, and same deal. It is just the y coordinates that differs, and we return the red bricks. Okay, and we should have red bricks. So there you go, guys. That's a lot of the initial game design in place, except for the opening text. So we're going to add that now. Okay, so how do we do that? So in Phaser, we declare an opening text variable a little bit different to the others. We have to declare it on the top of the scope here if we're going to be using it in the game. So we're going to say opening text is Phaser dot game objects, which is because it's a game object, and you declare it as a text field. Okay, that's a capital T for text here. Okay, so then once that's done, we can actually do some work with it. So where did I declare the opening text? Okay, so yes, this is where it gets kind of tricky. I will show you now. So what we're going to do is we're going to create some conditionals within our update, because we need to distinguish between when the game is over, when the game is won, and when you haven't had any direction yet. So when you're just sitting there with the ball, what's going to happen? Okay, so I will talk you through that now in a sec. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create if, else if, and else. Okay, so if, first of all, this game is over, what happens? Okay, so it's game over. Okay, we haven't created this function yet, but we will in a second. So if this is game over, we say we're referencing the world, which is the game itself. So this.physics.world, we just leave this blank for now. Okay, we just say if this game is over, what do we do? Okay, so then we say, right, what about when the game is won? Okay, so we say this dot is won, and I'm just create that function as well shortly. Okay, this is just some pseudocode for now. Okay, until we know more, we're just going to create this and see how we go. Okay, so then we're going to say else. So what do we do when the game is not over and the game isn't won? So we're just sitting there with the ball, we're the paddle. What do we do? Okay, so we passed in a boolean at the top. We said the game is not started. Okay, so we say if the game is not started, okay, this dot game started, okay, which is where we are right now. What do we do? So we say and the velocity of the player is 0, can't move. Okay, so we just tell the phaser game that the player dot body dot velocity x. So remember, velocity x, okay, is 0. Okay, you can't move from side to side. Okay, the paddle doesn't go up; it just goes from side to side. Okay, can't move when the game hasn't started. Okay, so what are we going to do now? We need to add some movements to the cursor so that the keys on our keyboard, we need to add the left and right functionality, and we need to add the space bar to play the game. So where do we do that? We actually need to add that in the create function. Okay, everything that we create, we need to add it to that function. Okay, so here we go. So we say this dot cursors, which is just what I'm giving the name of the cursor keys on your keyboard, and I'm going to say this dot input dot keyboard dot create cursor keys. Isn't that sweet? It has an inbuilt function that just does it for you. Okay, so now we're going to go back down to when we're not moving, and we're going to say, okay dude, we need the left key and we need the right key and we need the space bar, and we need them pretty fast. Okay, so we go down here to our update and we say, okay, so first we'll do the space bar to actually show you how the space bar works. So this, if, oh yeah, okay, 1 second now, if this dot ball, or this dot cursors, okay, which we just created, dot space, which is the space bar, dot is down, which if it's pressed, okay, what do we want to do? Okay, we're going to say the game is started. Okay, this dot game started equals true. Okay, what does that mean? So we need the ball to go X that way. We need to go straight up. Okay, so we need to say, okay, this dot ball, which is the sprite that we created for the ball, set velocity x of minus 200. Okay, which is the speed of the ball. Okay, so what that does is, and we also need to delete the opening text, but we haven't added it yet. So what did I do with the opening text? Where did I add that? What I'll do is, look, I'll finish this first, but in theory I should have added the opening text first, but look, we'll keep going with it. So when the game is started, the opening text needs to disappear off your screen. At the moment we don't have it, so what I'll do is I'll add it now because it'll look a bit better rather than deleting it after the fact. We create it first. Okay, so this is probably going to break. No, it's not, so it's actually okay. So it did break because we don't have those functions in place yet. Okay, for is game over and is won. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll create the opening text first in our create, and we will then display that, or we'll create the functions for is won and is game over, and then we'll be able to display our opening text. Okay, so how do we do that? So we just create another function called this dot create opening text. Okay, create opening text. Okay, so this is going to be another function just created here, just to make it more readable. Opening text. Okay, so how did that work? So I'm going to actually find it here. Okay, I remember now. So this, how do we create a text and display it on our screen? So we say this dot opening text equals this, this dot add dot text, and then we open this up and we say we need a width. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the total width divided by 2 to put it in the middle. Okay, so we're going to say this dot physics dot world dot bounds dot width divided by 2. Okay, which is cool. And we do the same for the height. This dot physics dot world dot bounds, okay, dot height divided by 2. Okay, so that's those two. We're going to say where we want it on the screen. So just to show you, we want it here. Okay, we want this opening text to be displayed in the middle. Okay, so then what do we want to say? We want to say press space to start. Okay, to start, lol. Okay, so then we go down here and we open our object here, and we want to give it some style. So we want to give it a font family of Monaco, Courier, and Monospace. Okay, it's just some fonts, and we want to say the font size is 50 pixels. We want it to be quite big. Okay, so we say 50 pixels, and we say the fill, which is the color, which is a slight gray, I think. FFF. Okay, FFF. Okay, go back there, and then we want to set the origin to be 0.5. Okay, we want to set it in the middle. So this dot opening text dot set origin. Okay, to be 0.5. 0.5. Okay. Okay, so what I'll do is I will comment this out for a sec so that you actually see the text being, there you go. So we have our press space to start text. Okay, so obviously it doesn't do anything yet, but you have all the assets loaded and we're ready to rock with the functionality. Okay, so that's where we're at now. So what I'll do is I'll uncomment this out now, and we have to create our isGameOver function and isOne function in order to continue on. We could actually, and then we'll do the spacebar. Okay, I'll just create these functions quickly. Okay, so a second there. So I'll do isGameOver. So how is the game over? What's involved there? So what we need to do is, the game is over when all the bricks are gone. Okay, so how do we do that? We count the active bricks, and when the active bricks out of all 3 groups are 0, the game is over. Okay, so how do we say that in text, in code? We say return the this dot ball. Oh, sorry, I'm wrong. So when I have to create the isOne function. That's what I meant for that. So when the game is won, all the bricks are gone. So isOne is the other function that we need. So this one here. So if the game is won, the bricks are gone. Okay. So we say return this dot red bricks dot count active, which is a function which returns a number, plus this dot yellow bricks dot count active plus this. I'm going to move this over a little bit so you can actually see this dot red, yellow, blue bricks dot count active equals 0. So that's when the game is won. Okay, so I'm just going to set that for now and use it in a little bit. Okay, so now we need to create the isGameOver function, which I started there. So I'm going to continue. So how is the game over? So how do you die? Okay, so what that means is when the ball leaves the scene and it's gone from the bottom of the scene, then the game is over. That you're dead. So how do I do that? So I need to say the ball's y coordinates is greater than the scene's y coordinates. If you get me. So remember y. So if the ball's y coordinates is greater, it's gone off the screen and the game is won. The game is over. Apologies. So I say this dot ball dot body dot y coordinates is greater than world dot bounds dot height. Okay, so that's height. Okay, world.bounds.height. Okay, so you also need to pass in to this one. You need to pass in the world. Okay, which is you need to declare what you're actually working with here. So it needs that world parameter there. Okay, so that's your is1 and is game over function in place. So now we can actually hit the ball. That shouldn't have happened. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create the spacebar functionality. So that probably needs to be Y, I would say, because it went sideways rather than up. Okay, so in the update, 1 second there. Yeah, it is Y. So what happened there was, it's good use case actually. I'll just prove it here. So I set the velocity of the X for the ball by accident, and what happened was the ball went horizontally instead of vertically, right? So watch this. It's not a very good game, is it? It just goes off the screen. So once I set it to the Y coordinates, it should go straight up. And what we wanted to do as well also is when we click the space bar and start the game, we want to press space to start text to leave the page. So I'm just going to declare that here. So we're going to set visible to be false. Okay, so this dot opening text, which is our variable for the text, and we set visible to be false. Okay, so then once you have this in place, you have your first movements for the game. So once you press the spacebar, it should go vertically up. Won't do anything else, it'll fall off the screen because we haven't set any bounds. But that is your first piece of actually moving functionality. Okay, the text moves off the screen and it just disappears into the abyss. Okay, so what do we want to do next? So we want to set some bounds for the game. So we want to say that when the ball hits here, here, and here, it's fine. And when we hit all these things, there needs to be a collision. Okay. And we also, later on in the game, we want to say that when the ball hits the tiles, it wants to go diagonally rather than straight up. So how do we do that? So I'll just cover all these in a sec. So what I'll do first is I will create the, I can create that first, I guess. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. So I'll just plow on and I'll tell you what I'm doing at the time. Okay, so first things first is we're going to start creating those colliders, okay? Okay. So that happens in the create function. Okay, so we have our opening text. We'll just do it down here. Okay, so we need to say that what we'll do actually as well is because we've created the spacebar functionality, I'm going to create the left and right for the toggle because that's not in place. All we have is a spacebar. Okay, let's do that now. Okay, so that's happening in the update. We're going to set the left and right keys. So let's go down here. So we're going to say if this dot cursors dot left dot is down, then we will say this dot player dot body, this dot player dot body dot set velocity of x, which is this way, to be minus 350. So that way, you know, back left. Minus 350, and the speed is just a little bit faster than the ball. Okay, so that's what that means. So you can set the velocity of your thing. So watch this. This should go left. Yeah, there you go. It's going left. Okay, so that's your left functionality. Okay, and then we obviously want to put in an else. If it's right, you go the other direction. Okay, and okay, so else if this dot cursors dot right is down, this dot cursors dot right dot is down, then you do the opposite. So you say this dot player dot body set velocity x to be 350, not minus 350, but 350. Okay, this dot player, whoops, so player dot body, not bounds but body, dot set velocity x to be 350. Okay, so hopefully it's making a little bit more sense now. Just make that a little easier to read. Okay, so is one, what's going on here? Is one, did I do something wrong there? Oh, I forgot a bracket here. Okay, cool. Okay, so that should work. Okay, so now you have your left and right for the toggle. Okay, but when you notice we need to set our collision here for the wall here now on both sides, and we also need to set it for the bricks and the top section of the game, like I explained earlier. So that's fine, that's done. So we're going to create our colliders now in the game. Okay, so first we're going to set the player colliders, or the toggle itself. So how do we do that? So this, we said this dot player dot set collide world bounds to be true. Okay, as soon as we do that, I'll show you, it should hit off the wall. There you go, look. It's not hitting off the wall anymore, or it's not disappearing off the side of the wall anymore. It's like, oh shit, I can't go anywhere. So it's just there, okay? Cool. Now, so what else do we want to do? We want to say that we want to give that player, we want to say it's movable. So what we want to do is keep the ball with the paddle. So at the moment it's moving independently. So we want to keep the ball right here so that it moves with it before we start the game, because we can't start the game without hitting the ball. Okay, so how do we do that? We say the player set immovable to be true. Okay, player dot set immovable to be true. Okay, so when that happens, we can't move. Oh no, it does move. So what does that do? Okay, I'll figure that out in a sec. Okay, so we need to create the collider for the actual ball now. This dot ball dot set collider world bounds to be true. So as soon as that happens, when we hit the ball, it should bounce back off of the back wall, or the top wall. So watch this now. So that should hit off the wall up there and come back. It didn't come back because we've no bounce set. We need to set a bounce now so that it bounces back to us. Okay, so I'll do that right now. So we need to set this dot ball dot set bounce. Easy, guys. There's some really cool functions in this thing. Makes life a lot easier. So we have to add an XY for that, which is 1 1. It's what I've been using. It seems to work, so we'll just run with that. And so as soon as that happens, when we click it and it hits the top wall, it should come back to us. Look at that. Whee! Okay, so that's cool. Okay, so that'll do its thing there, and I need to so what we need to do as well is we need to remove the collision from the bottom wall. Okay, so that when it leaves the world, that we have a way of ending the game. So how do we do that? We say this dot physics dot world dot check collision down, dot down, so you can declare which one you want it to be free and not by saying this. So this dot world dot this dot physics dot world dot check collision dot down is false. So when we add this now, it should fall, when it comes back to us, it should fall off the world. Okay, so watch this now. Bye bye. See, there you go. So as soon as I add a collider for the paddle, it won't go through it, but it falls off the world, so therefore the game is over. So 1 second now, I'm going to add a collider for all the bricks, but before I do that, I need to create a hit player function as well. So how do I do that? So I'm going to create it here. So I have a hit player function. So we pass in the ball and we pass in the bricks. So what we want to do is when the ball hits the brick, we want that specific brick to disappear. Okay, and we want the ball to diagonally return either in an X way or a Y way, depending on the number that it is at the time. So I'll just explain this at the moment while I'm doing it. So I have a hit player function, and I pass in a ball, and I pass in a player, okay, into the function itself. So, and then what we say is that specific, or I pass in a brick, sorry, not a player, so I pass in a brick. Okay, so this specific brick, when it hits the ball, we disable it, so it's gone. Okay, so disable body to be true. You need to specify true. There's two params. Okay, it's fine. And okay, so when that brick is hit by the ball, the that specific brick disappears off the screen. Okay, so then we want to say if the ball's velocity at the time is 0, the x coordinates, so that's how we kind of find its state at the time. So we go velocity dot x equals 0. We say that we need to create a random number for the bounce, so let random equals math.random. Okay, and it's fine. So we're gonna say if the random is greater than or equal to 0.5, which is the bounce, okay, we're gonna say ball dot set, no, ball dot body. I always jump the gun there in that one. Set velocity x to be 150. Okay. Else, then we're gonna say, so you go x or you go y. Okay. So second there now. So else we ball dot body dot set velocity x to be minus 150. Okay, so that's cool. That's the hit brick hit. That should be called hit brick function, not hit player. Okay, making some mistakes here now. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to add the hit brick function to the create method, because we want to collide it with the ball and therefore disappear the tile or the brick at the time. Okay, so I'm going to do that now. In the create function, I'm going to add a collider. Okay, so how do we do that? We're going to say this dot physics dot add dot collider. Okay, which is a function within phaser. So we pass in the ball. Okay, because it's going to be colliding with the bricks. Then we pass in the group of blue bricks. Okay, whoops. Okay, and then we're going to say we're going to use the hit brick function, which you just created, and we're going to say null for this. We don't need it, and we're going to pass in this. Okay, so once we do that now, when we reload the game and when we hit the blue bricks, it should disappear one or two of them. There you go, and it'll come back to us because we have the bounds set. Okay, or because we don't have bounds set on our paddle yet. Okay, cool. So at least that's in place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy over the other two. So it's the exact same thing for the yellow and the red bricks. Okay, so there's colliders set now for those three groups. So the red, yellow, and blue. So blue, yellow, red. So collider, collider, collider. Okay, quite simple, guys. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we also need that for the player. So we need the ball to collide with the paddle. Otherwise it'll just keep going through the paddle and you'll never be able to play the game properly. Okay, see? Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to add that function down here. So I'm just going to create it separately. So this dot physics dot add dot collider. So we're going to pass in the ball. Okay, we're going to pass in the player this time instead of the bricks, and we're going to use the same hit player function, which actually can be used here as well, and null and this. Okay, so that is that, and that should work now, guys. The paddle should be able to hit back the ball. There you go. Look, your bounce is diagonally projected now instead of straight up. So that was that function I created with the zero, or with the velocity x being with the random number, etc. So we're nearly there, guys. We need to create some game over text, and we need to create player one text. Okay, I'll remove my cursor there. So okay, so at the moment when the ball disappears from the screen, we do have the game over text. Okay, because we're on the other game. Okay. Oh my god. Okay, apologies guys, I was actually on the other game. Okay, so we need to add some more functionality here. So okay, I will go back there because there seems to be an issue with the left key and the right key, so I'm going to fix them. Okay, so we need to add this velocity. This is actually up here, that's why that's happening. Okay, sorry about that. So okay, so that's okay now. That should be fixed. What's going on here? So this set velocity, this top player, this that one, player one, disabled body. What have I missed? I've missed something fundamental here now. Player ball. It looks fine to me. And create opening text, update, create player is one. Lot of bricks. Just 1 second there. Count active. Turn. Okay, looks fine. Is game over. Okay, 1 second. So why can't I move? Okay, so I have something wrong in the update, I would think. Just give me 1 second, guys. So this is not game over. Okay, this is one. Okay, I forgot that line. Okay, that's fine. So we do. No, that's there. This dot cursor that left is down. Select velocity x. This dot player dot body. Else if this dot cursor is down, set velocity x 350. If okay. I forgot to put in the if in here. Okay, so apologies about that, guys. I'll speed it up now. So if this dot game started, so if the game isn't started, I have that up there. So what have I done around here now? So this that's the game start. So else this on there. Okay. Okay, these need to be above that conditional. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so that's cool. Panic over. So this, and then we say this dot ball dot set x to be this dot player dot x. Okay, I forgot that. So that's what we mean. That's what we needed to set the ball to be in the same place as the paddle. So now you have your left and right, and your shit. What's going on? Okay, this game started. This player set x player to x. Of course, the space is down. Okay. Looks fine to me. And then, okay, I know what's happening. It's disappearing because of that collider. Player, hit player. That should be hit player. Okay. Okay, sorry guys, I made a boo-boo there, but it's all rectified now. This should be hit player, not hit brick. Okay. And that will fix that, because what was happening was when the toggle was getting hit, it was disappearing, but that's because I was using the collider function for the bricks and not the actual player. So that was a good use case to come across, because we didn't let it bother us. We just fixed it, guys. That's what we do in the Papa fam. We don't let that phase us. We just fix it and move on. Okay. Okay, guys, we're nearly there. We just need to add some game over text here now for when the ball moves off the screen, and also we need to add some text to say that you've won when you've finished all, or when you've hit all the bricks. Okay, so I'm going to create these up here. So I'm going to just copy over these because they're the same as the opening text. I'll do one at a time, okay, make it easier for you guys. So game over text is here, so it's the same as the opening text. And where do we use the game over text? We create it first in the create function, similar to the other one. So we create this function here, and we actually have it in a separate place. So we similar to the opening text, which is here, we have a create game over text. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this over because it's the same as the create opening text, except the phrase here is game over rather than press space to start. Okay, so we're using this in a separate section, but there is a small caveat with this, is because we need to set it to be false when it is initialized, because when we only need this when the game is over. We don't need it at the start, because at the start we want to say press space to start, but we want it to appear when the game is over. So we need to call this function in the update function when the game is over. Okay, so I will find that now. So in the update, so game over, we hold on 1 second. Okay, we set it to be true. We set it to be visible when the game is over. Okay, so that makes sense. So this dot game over text dot set visible to be true. Okay, and we're going to disable the ball as well, because we don't want the ball to be able to move anymore. So we just put that in here, true and true. Okay, so that's fine. So there you go. So game over text. So this should pop up here now. There you go. Woo! So now all we need to do, guys, is we need to add the is one text when the game is won. Okay, similar to the last function I added. So I'm just going to copy it over again, guys. So player one text is the last one. Okay, so then we need to add it to the create. Okay, so create and player one text. So this dot create player one text. Okay, and we need to create it. So it's going to be similar to the other two text variables. So player one text, I'm just going to grab it here from my other code. I'm going to put it here. Okay, and it says player one text, so it's one, and similar to the game over text, we don't want it to be visible until you have won. Okay, so how do we do that? We say this dot player one text set visible to false, and we set it to be visible when the game is won. Okay, I hope this makes sense. Okay, so in update function here now, in this conditional, we say when the game is won, when all the bricks are gone, or when all the bricks add up to 0, and we say this dot player one text dot set visible to be true. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Okay, so that's that, and then we also want to disable the ball. Okay, so we just add this here as well. So I think we're good, guys. I think I haven't left anything out. Okay, so let's just try this out, and we'll let it. Game over works. Okay, we know that. So we're just going to try and beat the game. What I'll do is I'll try and deploy this to Firebase as well while we're doing that. So look, I'll let it die for a second. We'll deploy to Firebase. Okay, so now let's go to our command line. Okay, we'll open another one of these. Okay, and we will deploy it. Okay, are you ready, guys? Because I'm ready. I'm going to deploy this thing, and you're going to see it as a public URL. Okay, and you can mess around with it if you want. Okay, cd git This is where it lives. CD phaser, breakout loom. Okay, so I'm gonna check which one I have two Firebase accounts, so I'm just gonna log out here for a sec and just make sure I'm in the right one, because I have a few projects in each. So I'm gonna make sure that I have oh, I probably need to install Firebase too, right? Oh no, I have it installed. So if you don't have Firebase installed, you install it globally. Let's just show you. Does it say where to do that here? Firebase install globally. Global. So there's a step in Firebase here. Hold on a second. See if I can see it. I think I'm just going to register the app. We can see it there, I think. So phaser breakout loom. Okay. So this one, register app, and I think it gives you the command here that you need to use if you don't have Firebase installed. This is the one. So you do npm install -g Firebase tools, and that will give you the Firebase commands that I can use here to actually create or deploy the app to Firebase. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, guys. So first of all, I need to log in. So Firebase login. Okay. And I was actually in the wrong Firebase, so I need to log into this one. Okay. And allow. Okay. And then I'm logged in. So what I need to do now is I'm going to move this over here. I'm going to init my project, Firebase initialize init. Okay, Firebase init. Okay, and are you ready to proceed? Yes, sir, I am. So we go down to hosting, we press space bar, we press enter, and we use an existing project. So we created one, which is going to be the one we just created. So phaser breakout loom. Okay, it's the one I created earlier, and it's going to have a build as your public directory. Okay, select that. I'm going to move this up here so you can see it. Configure as a single page app. Yes. Set up automatic build to GitHub. No, thank you. Okay, so that we have initialized the app. So what are we going to do now? We're going to do npm run build. So it builds our project and it prepares it for the deployment of Firebase. Okay, guys. We're almost there. It's going to build our project, and afterwards you can use the URL and log on if you want, mess around with it. And let's give it a second there. It's doing its thing, and I hope you're enjoying this, guys. Hopefully if we get some good feedback, we can create more advanced games with some pretty cool characters. We might even create a Papa React and J characters maybe, and have them bouncing around some 2D game for some fun. I think that'd be pretty cool. Okay, so now we have that built. We're going to say Firebase deploy. Okay, and that should deploy our app to Firebase, and we'll be able to check to see if it's up and running in just a second, guys. Okay, so there we go. There's our URL. So we're just going to copy this URL, and we're going to put it up here and wait for it. Wow, there you go, guys. There's your public URL. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed, and you can reach out to me in the Slack community or Lawler or the Discord community, or you can follow me on Instagram if you want. I don't really use it, but look, whatever. My handle is @LawlerRichie. Okay, so thanks very much, guys, and I'll see you within the Papa fam. Have a great day. Bye bye.